Well, we'll go ahead and get started. So in this class, we can begin with a quick introduction. We usually do a 20-minute guided meditation. We check in with each other, see how people are doing with their practice. And we have a little reading from a book, and the book we use is by John Kabat-Zinn. It's called Wherever You Go, There You Are, Mindfulness Meditations in Everyday Life. And then we have a discussion on the reading or whatever else is showing up for people. So in today's reading, we're going to talk a little bit about sitting meditation. And there's terminology here about the kind of posture we would use when we meditate, a posture that's upright, dignified, which is kind of an interesting choice of words, I think, for how we sit. And when we do the reading, we'll see more about that. So we begin our meditation with a posture that's upright and dignified, but also relaxed, but also alert. Eyes that are open or closed. And if open, just cast an area with no real focus up in front of us. And we just breathe. And we start perhaps with 3 deep breaths. Breathing into the nostrils if we can, breathing in. You're breathing out either through the nostrils with your parted lips. One more, breathing in. Pause. Breathing out. And one more. As we check in with our bodies, we might do a brief scan beginning at the top of the head, relaxing and softening any muscles or places where we feel tightness or stress. The facial muscles around the eyes, or in the jaws. Letting the shoulders just drop a little. Imagining with each out breath that we just soften everything just a little bit more with each out breath. Checking in with the upper back and lower back. Relaxing the hands, where they're placed in our laps or on our thighs. By loosening any tightness in the chest and the belly. Relaxing through the hips, the thighs, and the calves. And in the feet, just feeling sensations in our feet as we make contact with the floor through the shoes. Feeling a sense of groundedness, relaxation. We also feel the sensations in our body where we're making contact with the chair. In our meditation, we use our breath as an anchor, along with the sensations that we feel in the body as we breathe. You might, for example, notice the breath through our nostrils as we breathe in, breathing out. It's following the sensation all the way in, all the way out. Or perhaps we feel the breath most noticeable in our chest as the lungs expand and contract. Perhaps even in the rising and falling of the belly as we breathe in and out. So the invitation is to just following the breath and feeling the sensations where they're most noticeable in the body as we breathe in and breathe out. So just following the breath all the way in and all the way out. Finding a place of stillness and presence. All that is happening is right here, right now. Focusing on the breath helps us to recognize when thoughts and other distractions appear. The mind just generates thoughts constantly throughout the day. When we're sitting still is a time when they almost seem to show up more visibly. So when we notice a thought, rather than adding to it, having it get carried down some storyline, when we notice that we're thinking, we notice we might label thinking or planning or remembering. And as we notice, we watch it pass away. The practice of mindfulness to just a return with kindness and gentleness to the breath and the sensations in the body as we breathe. We watch the thoughts show up. We watch it just pass by, as if a dry leaf is visible floating down the top of a gently flowing stream. Comes into awareness, goes by, and it's gone. We return just to the gentle flowing stream, the breath, the body sensations that follow the breath. And as thoughts continue to appear, as soon as we notice them, label them perhaps, without judgment, without feeling bad, just gently returning to the breath, the sensations in the body. And we just do this over and over. And there are some possible things we can do to help us keep our focus on the breath and the body. And one is just saying to ourselves as we breathe in, breathing in, breathe in. And on the exhale, just breathing out, out. In, out. Another technique to help us keep our focus is to count. Count the out breaths, beginning at 1, going up to 5, or if you want up to 10. Counting every out breath. If you get lost along the way and lose count, no problem. Gently and kindly turning to the breath and begin again at 1. It's helping us come to presence. It's helping us come to just being present right here, at this time, in this place. And as thoughts keep showing up, we can discern whether this thought is something I really need to pay attention to. Is it urgent? Is it important? And we need to look at it even for just a few seconds before letting it go. Eventually we let it go. We turn to the breath and the sensations in the body. Just checking for stillness in the body as we breathe. If you notice a place in the body where the muscles are particularly tight, just feel some tightness and pressure. You might just try breathing, focus that breathing into that area of the body. Between the shoulder blades or in the chest. You might even imagine a half smile showing up on our lips, helping the facial muscles relax. Just breathing in, breathing out. Something other than the breath captures our attention, perhaps sounds, or a particular sensation in the body, in the feet perhaps. You can use that sensation, the sensations, or the sound as our object for meditation. While just being present, and noticing if our thoughts just go down some storyline. Notice that, watch it pass away. We Return to our focus. The breath, the body, the sound. Whatever helps us to anchor ourselves in this present moment. Where everything is basically good. Thoughts can also sometimes be accompanied with intense, strong emotions. Worry, aggravation, sadness, grief, anger. If that's the case, we notice these. We observe what's there. Breathe with it. Perhaps these emotions can be found in the body. Perhaps it brings tightness in the chest or other sensations in the belly. Without going down a storyline or following a big storyline, those emotions, you might just breathe with it into the body and out. You might imagine the in-breath bringing with it an element of care, concern, compassion. Help soften any aggravation or worry or grief. Just feeling things soften, a little bit of letting go with every out breath. Again, without involving a story, breathing in the idea of compassion or care. Just feeling healing as you breathe out. Meditation provides a perfect vehicle for bringing passion, healing, care to ourselves. Just using the breath as a vehicle. Breathing in, feeling with care. Just experiencing some relief on the out breath. Letting go. Softening. In a few moments, we'll invite 3 sounds of the bell and our meditation. We usually follow that, if you wish, with the bow, just to signify togetherness, belongingness, sense of peace. It provides an opportunity for us to just kind of check in and see how each of us is doing, how our week has been, our practice has been.
I've been busy weekend and I found that my mind was really busy, even though, it's trying to get these things out of it. But, I'd get settled and it would start all over again. So I thought that was fun. Plus, one thing I was doing is kind of following. I don't know what I was following, and then all of a sudden I realized, like I'm out here and I need to pull back. I don't know what that was about.
Right, in this one, as you were practicing this morning?
Yeah, I mean, I could feel myself going like this. And all of a sudden, then there I was, so I was like, okay, put your, I don't know what.
Just unconsciously, sort of your body just moving in a way, usually moving. Huh.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah. And maybe it's just something to pay attention to, just notice, Yeah, maybe that's part of just becoming more aware of what our bodies do, As we meditate more, we become more aware.
Mm-hmm.
How interesting. Was it accompanied by any like worry, concern?
No, I was with my niece and her husband and 3 children for the whole weekend. And, there was always, of course, 3 kids. I mean, they're 17 and 14.
Oh.
But it was like, there was always something going on somewhere in the house with somebody. And I don't know, I guess that's why my mind was so busy this morning. That's
Okay.
everything I can think of.
Could be, yeah, sure.
Having a normal routine. Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's funny how the disruptions in routine can have an effect for days.
And that's the only thing I can think of, because I'm by myself, so most of the time it's just me and what my routines are. But of course, I was up there for 4 days and it was like, there was always something going on, or the kids and I were walking, going to church and things like that. And then we had family game nights. And so there was a lot of activity, a lot of verbal, contact. But I found that my mind just got to settle my mind down. Interesting.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think that's the kind of thing that can happen.
Next time I go up, when I come back, I'll see if it's the same.
What's everybody else doing?
It's not. Always look forward to coming to meditation.
Good. Good plug.
I too had a disruption of routine. Over 2 weeks, I was out of town and then something else. And I was at the beach last week, so I got out of my exercises from my physical therapy exercise. So I'm all beating myself up because I haven't, so during the meditation day, I kept drifting off. You haven't been doing this, you're bad for this. So I need to let it go. I'm not bad. I'm just out of my routine.
That's right.
I'm just out having fun.
That's right.
Right.
How
Doing
dare
something
you.
else.
Guy, it's the experience, that stayed with me too on Saturday night. My wife and I went to a dinner, a special celebration for a nun who was stepping down as president of the small urban school that I've been involved with for a number of years. And at this dinner, I ran into a guy whose wife has also been involved with the school, but he wasn't particularly. But I taught with this guy 30 some years, well, 40 some years ago, and another school, and he mentioned my daughter who recently passed in January, and it's like, and we called her Bitsy. Her name was Elizabeth, but it's like, and he remembers her. So he goes, oh no, Bitsy. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like it just gonna go right into your heart.
Yes.
And I talked to another friend there who I hadn't seen since her passing. So just being reminded, people sharing the grief just brings it all
Right.
up. And it was okay, it was just, I think that's what happens.
I would think it might feel good to realize that other people, even though it's a long time that you knew her,
Right.
she made a mark on his life.
Yep.
So that would make me feel.
Yeah, I started teaching at this particular school in 1979. I was like a year and a half old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Circle of life.
Yes, the circle of life is the way to put it. You have your book that you enjoy. Would you like to share the reading with me? We're going to do page 103. Sitting meditation. If you want to read the first page up and continue to the end of that paragraph on the next page, and I'll finish it.
Okay. What is so special about sitting? Nothing. When we speak of the way we ordinarily sit, it's just one convenient way our bodies take the load off our feet. But sitting is very special when it comes to meditation. You can know that superficially, easily enough from the outside. For instance, you might not know that a person is meditating when you see him standing or lying down or walking, but you know it immediately when he is sitting, especially if he is sitting on the floor. From any angle, the posture itself embodies wakefulness, even when the eyes are closed and the face is serene and peaceful. It is mountain-like in its majesty and solidity. There is a stability to it which speaks volumes, broadcasting inwardly and outwardly. The moment the person dozes off, all these qualities evaporate. The mind collapses inwardly, the body visibly. Sitting meditation involves sitting in an upright, dignified posture, often for extended periods of time. While it is relatively easy to assume an erect posture, That is just the beginning of this challenging process of continual unfolding. You may readily enough park your body, but there is still the question of what the mind is up to. Sitting meditation is not a matter of taking on a special body posture, however powerful that may be. It is adopting a particular posture toward the mind. It is mind sitting.
And once you are sitting, there are many ways to approach the present moment. All involve paying attention on purpose, non-judgmentally. What varies is what you attend to and how. It is best to keep things simple and start with your breathing, feeling it as it moves in and out. Ultimately, you can expand your awareness to observe all the comings and goings, the gyrations and machinations of your own thoughts and feelings, perceptions and impulses, body and mind. But it may take some time for concentration and mindfulness to become strong enough to hold such a wide range of objects in awareness without getting lost in them or attached to particular ones, or simply overwhelmed. For most of us, it takes years and depends a good deal on your motivation and the intensity of your practice. So at the beginning, you might want to stay with the breath or use it as an anchor to bring you back when you are carried away. Try it for a few years and see what happens. So he suggests try setting aside a time every day for just being. 5 minutes would be fine, or 10 or 20 or 30 if you want to venture that far. Sit down and watch the moments unfold with no agenda other than to be fully present. Use the breath as an anchor to tether your attention to the present moment. Your thinking mind will drift here and there, depending on the currents and winds moving in the mind, until at some point, the anchor line grows taut and brings you back. This may happen a lot. Bring your attention back to the breath in all its vividness every time it wanders. Keep the posture erect but not stiff. Think of yourself as a mountain. It's a nice image in a way, the idea of being a mountain, strong and weathering any storm that comes its way. As we kind of just accept and weather any thoughts or worries and stuff that come our way while we're sitting.
Earlier, you were talking about compassion, breathing. So you're saying have compassion on yourself and things. Is that what we were talking?
Yes. Yeah. And we can do sometime. We can even maybe, if you want, we can end with this today. It's a metta or self-compassion, loving kindness meditation, in which we offer ourselves wishes. It's like a prayer to ourselves. May I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be at peace. And just kind of help. That can be like a focus. And then we, and the idea being is the idea that we almost need to be okay with ourselves if we're going to be offering other people genuine kindness and compassion. We kind of, want to make sure that we're in a pretty good place ourselves with that. We won't always be, but, as a goal. So what was that like? You want to say more about the compassion experience for you?
Well, because I think you become too hard on yourself. I know I do. I become too hard on myself for, maybe something I did it the wrong way, or a chance word that I said to somebody, or some type of an activity that I did, which, why'd you do that? And then instead of trying to let it go, because it's done, there's nothing you can do about it, it's done, and then move forward. And that's when you were talking about compassion, and I'm thinking he must mean have compassion on yourself, because we're none of us, there's only one person that ever came on earth that, never did anything wrong. And, that,
Right.
that's it, you know, that's it.
And these are normal human worries.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that we have, you know.
But, you know, sometimes I will get on her, oh God, what a, you know how you get, it's just so on yourself.
Mhm. Yeah. I think, I don't know, I can relate to that very thing, you know.
Yeah.
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 And it's a process too, you know, and you think in terms of, because that stuff hangs in there. It's not easily discarded.
No.
But if, you know, like with the in breath and out breath, if you feel like you can like let go of a little bit at a time. So you almost kind of feel, you know, like it washing away, you know, a little bit.
Because it can be like a rabbit hole if you fall in it.
Right.
And I like the word ruminate, because it's like you're ruminating through all these negative things.
Right.
But and I try to remember that I don't want to be like a pig or a rat and just digging around for bad things, you know, just let it go.
That's a good reminder too, that we can, especially in meditation, we can often, we feel ourselves going down that rabbit hole. And before we know it, it's like, where have I been?
Right,
You know,
yeah.
it's like-
Time's up and you're, you know.
Well, I find that I cannot meditate with my eyes open.
Mhm.
I mean, whether I really could if I tried, but I don't, because when I close my eyes, I'm like resetting.
Mhm. Okay.
And like I'm taking a course in college, and it's classical music.
Oh.
And I cannot listen to that type of music without closing my eyes.
Okay.
And that is part of the class itself.
Mhm.
It's what emotions do you feel, and a lot of the people will say like well, happy or sad, but I seem to wander and see scenes,
Okay. Mhm.
maybe dancing and all kind of thing. And I said to her, I said, most of these people just can explain this etude or whatever, all of it.
Okay.
And they can explain it in one word, and I just make a story about it.
Okay. Mhm.
She said, well, some people do, some people don't,
Right.
you know. But I mean, I just find that, and I close my eyes different times during the day to
Mhm.
reset.
Okay.
And then I never return to what it was.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know, I'm sort of happy with myself. So,
Mhm.
you know, I am what I am. And you might as well accept what it is and do as much as you can. And,
Right. Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
don't panic.
Yeah, we can get a little too focused on self-improvement.
Yes, after a while, we're saying, I am as good as I'm gonna get.
Right.
But don't worry about it. Just worry about all these other people that you could help.
Sometimes easier said than done. Right? Well, it's funny, but like in terms of meditation teachers, some like in Zen, you often, the focus really is on having your eyes open and just lightly gazing to an area out in front. You're not, you know, like you're not hyper focused on anything.
Don't you
Because,
find your eyes drifting? I mean,
oh, sure.
that's what I mean. So that interferes with my
Okay.
peacefulness.
Mhm. Eyes drift, you know, minds drift, I mean, everything, right? It all, yeah.
Doing that, could you self-hypnotize? Like say, for instance, there's 2 dots there. When she was talking, I was looking at those and I'm thinking, you know, and with everything going, you know, what we're talking about and meditating and all that, I'm thinking, I wonder if you could self-hypnotize yourself, because you can do that. I
Uh-huh.
have read that you can
Okay.
self-hypnotize. I don't know how you get yourself out of it,
Right.
but,
The
you know,
bells,
and that's
the
what I
bells
was wondering.
I mean, they scare me to death when he rings those bells. So I'm just anticipating he's gonna ring those bells, but I still, you know.
I know what you mean. In the Zen group, Tuesday night group, you know, he begins and, you know, ends with a clap of these wooden blocks.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like, if I'm not, yeah, I'm usually like startled.
Yes, I am too.
But the idea, tying back to the questions, is like, the idea is to be present. You know, so, staring at something, you know, that could be fine. I know I've done meditation groups where there'd be put a flower right out in front, and that is your focus of attention.
Hmm.
So you can, you know, you can use a visual stimulus as your focus, an auditory stimulus, your breath, you know, a physical sensation in your body. Any of those are fine for, you know, for the, I guess, your object, your anchor, for staying in the present. But if you go off wandering and creating scenes and something, well, you're no longer present. You've drifted off
Yes,
somewhere
you're
else.
in your other world.
Yeah, right.
But now, when you have staring contests, which we do growing up in kids,
Mm-hmm,
that would be so tense for me,
mm-hmm,
because I know I can't blink, I can't blink. And when you
Right.
close your eyes, you don't blink at all. You don't worry
That's
about
right.
that,
that's true.
because there's nothing, your mind is calm,
Mhm,
because you don't see things. I could never do that. I mean, I might be able to do it for a certain, maybe a minute, but
mhm,
certainly not for 20.
right, mhm,
It's just so peaceful to be. And then that way you're by yourself. It's just
Right.
you, and there's nothing interfering.
right.
I just find it, I
That's
couldn't do anything with that place.
Yeah, I closed my eyes, and I guess there's no visual interference.
Correct, because your mind just never wants to stop working,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the teachers, you know, who prefer, and it's just a preference, I think, you know, to keep eyes open and lightly gazing out. Our ears are always open, so verbal stimuli shows up, or auditory stimuli. So that's just one of the senses, you know, we can still smell things, you know, feel things on our bodies, so why would we then deny the seeing, the visual sense? It's a personal preference. Yes. I think people in the insight approach, like Jack Cornfield or Tara Brock, I think that they invite you to close your eyes, often in their guided meditations. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
Whatever
Different
works.
in every
Yeah,
way, you know.
Right, exactly.
You just wonder maybe how twins can do different things. It's fascinating, you know,
Mhm,
with, like, you know, identical twins
right.
and how their minds work, and
Mhm,
it's fascinating to think how two people can look alike but not necessarily feel like.
right, yeah, it is interesting. Yeah.
And I'm to me, sight is the most important sense.
Okay,
That would be the one I would not want to
Mhm.
lose.
I see, yeah. Mhm, I
It's
hear you.
because, you know, when you're playing that game with pin the tail on the donkey and they put that, you're just so disoriented.
Right. Mhm,
But
It's
if I
not a
put
good
my
feeling.
fingers in my ears, it's not a big, you know, feeling.
I see, yeah. Mhm, okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying right there. Yeah, vision is, yes,
Yeah,
powerful.
yes.
But you know, don't have vision. I think you could accept other people better for who they are.
Interesting, yeah.
You know, if you have someone that is not pleasing to the
Right,
eye,
that's true.
but inside,
Mhm,
they're a beautiful person. If you don't have that vision, you are
That's right.
accepting that person for who that person really is, rather than what they look like.
Especially if you were born without, but if you know, had
Right.
vision and lost it, it would be a different feeling than if you never, or just like
mhm,
children are born, they can't hear, they put that cochlear implant. And I mean, they're just light up
yeah,
because
right.
they hear, I mean, it's something they've never had.
Mhm,
And they hear, because they do much better, of course, in school.
right, sure.
With that in there.
But I think, you know, what you're talking about, Joyce, is kind of like too, the biases, you know, you
Yeah.
can see how biased, you know. They'll say, you say,
How
don't
much-
judge a book by its cover, but we
How
always
much
do.
we rely on books,
We do.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
those darn eyes.
Well, we have about 5 minutes or so, so we usually do that, end with a 5-minute silent meditation. And so we'll do that. And I'll ring the bell in about 5 minutes.
problem.
I invite 3 sounds of the bell to seal our morning meditation. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope you have a nice self-compassionate rest of the day.
And you mentioned that you'd probably be here until the 20th of June. Are you
Yes.
gonna start up in the fall again?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Maybe sometime in August, we'll see what family things
Uh-huh.
are showing up or not. So, yeah, definitely by the 1st of September. And we'll see if this it continues to be a good day, then I'll just keep it
Okay.
here probably this time.
Okay. Well, everybody enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you.
Everyone have a good day. It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
And it might rain
I
later.
hope it doesn't rain the way they said it's going.